So in the spirit of the upcoming Fantastic Four steps, I would like to talk about the old Fox era of the Fantastic Four. Because we can celebrate history in the making, but we must always remember our beginnings. Now with this sappy speech out of the way, let's dive into the topic. With this discussion, we are tackling the Fantastic Four and putting them up against all the antagonists of the current 4 Avengers movies. That being Loki and the Chitauri Army, Ultron and his mini-me's, and Thanos and his children. Now I will be primarily using the 4, as within the character of Doom as presented by the movies, he would never help the Fantastic Four, not in a million years. The 4 can make the distance or get soloed by Loki or something. Now we need to establish how the 4 scale in relation to each other, as some are stronger than others, however they all just generally are in the same ballpark. For example, even though Sue is the physically weakest of the 4, as she's still able to endure attacks from Doom, and with massive struggle she can contain the planetary threatening supernova of Johnny Storm, and the Thing is shown to have the best 1v1 against Doom out of all the 4. However, Reed is shown to physically restrain the Thing, showing at least what I call the Doom era 4. They're all in some relation did scale to each other. However, by the events of the Surfer era, I believe Johnny just became the strongest and fastest member, due to him just blatantly as fast if not faster than the Surfers, even within disadvantage in mobility, and stated now to be able to produce over 1 million degrees in comparison to his Doom era self, which can only output 4,000 Kelvin, which there being a roughly 25 times difference between the two. Overall, they should all be roughly around each other, with Johnny being the new strongest and fastest. Probably the main feat of scaling the team is off of Johnny's feat of destroying the atmosphere as a byproduct of heating up. This feat being calculated upwards of 4.5 petatons of TNT, or in the multi-continental range. Again, I would like to point out this feat was super casual of him, and more importantly it was in a controlled environment, yet he was still gonna do this as a byproduct as his power. Again, as I've already established, most if not all of the team should scale to this to a degree. However, by the events of the Surfer era, Johnny is just massively increased, as according to his file in the Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer Annual 2008 guide, he's able to produce enough energy to destroy a small moon. So using our solar system as reference and our moon as the general consensus for a regular sized moon, and the smallest moon in our solar system, that being Saturn's moon Mimais. So taking those two as our highest and smallest, we find that the median for a small moon would be Pluto's moon Charon. Charon having a radius of 606,000 meters and a mass of 1.58 times 10 to the 21 kilograms. Its GBE comes out to 1.65 times 10 to the 26 joules of energy, which is still multi-continental, just deeper degree. However, one must intake the matter of destruction of said feat, and due to Johnny being the Human Torch, he would have most likely melted or vaporized said moon. With this being the case, using the already established radius and then using the spherical volume equation, we find that Charon has a volume of 9.322 times 10 to the 23 cubic centimeters. Now with it either being melting or vaporization, I'll just make it as a low and high end. But irregardless of both ends, they both come out to the multi-continental range, just in the exaton range of TNT now. With the speed of the team being quite consistent, as again Sue being the physically weakest member is still able to react to Doom's lightning or electricity attacks. Assuming it's only the speed of electricity, this gets to the Mach 6 or hypersonic range. However, assuming it's actual lightning, this speed will be upwards of Mach 684 or massively hypersonic. And generally all the team should scale to this. However, during the Surfer era, Johnny does get a massive upgrade to his speed, as he just blatantly shouldn't keep up if not be as fast as the Surfer, even while being disadvantaged due to his immovability. The Surfer not only in the movie is able to traverse an interstellar distance in a short time frame, but is stated to have speeds that are faster than light in not only movie program pamphlets, as well as the official website for the game, which is just based off the events of the movie and is considered an extension of the canon, making the Surfer at least faster than light and Johnny by proxy. With Loki being the heaviest hitter of him and his army, as the Chitauri really are featless, as Cap and Black Widow can handle them with little to no effort. As for Loki, he's in a completely different story of power. While Loki can kind of fight a Phase 1 Thor, however in both of their fights, Thor was either holding back or weakened on top of that. As in their first fight in Thor, it's not only suggested that Thor is holding back, but the script directly confirms that Thor was fighting purely defensively against Loki. It gives gets even worse by the time of the Avengers, as during that fight he was confirmed to not only be holding him back and trying to talk him down, but within the means it took to teleport him to Earth, it actually almost killed him. And during the time frame he's had virtually no time to recover. So while yes, I believe Loki does scale to Thor, only to an extent. So basically any feat Thor does casually he should scale to, such example being when he destroyed a massive portion of Jotunheim, with said landmass being destroyed to be 100 times the size of the Great Canyon. To put in for reference, the Grand Canyon is 277 miles long, multiplied by 100 we get a surface area of 27,700 miles. With said feat being consistently calculated upwards of energy needed to destroy any small planets. This being consistent as it's confirmed that Thor shook the planet itself due to the earthquake he caused. It was said earthquake being on the higher end of the Richter scale, as not only do we virtually see that the damage he caused in the movie, as well as the script it stated that he destroyed Jotunheim to a point where the void of space was visible on the other side of the planet. With this easily quantifying as a magnitude 10 earthquake and 9 if you generally want a low ball, the synergy needed to produce an earthquake of said magnitude on a planetary scale is needed around 1 zetaton of TNT, making it very consistent that this Loki is in the small planetary range of power, as he's not only stated to be superior to any human at the time, which would include the likes of Iron Man. However, if you think that this only applies to him and not the suit since it's technically not human, this is fine as he would still scale to if not above Iron Man, as he is shown to have a better fight against a weakened holding back Thor than Iron Man did, as it was confirmed that Thor could have easily destroyed Tony if he wanted, with said Tony blatantly having supersonic feats in just his first movie alone on 2 occasions. He also is anywhere up to Mach 5 or hypersonic range, as he's able to fly from Malibu to Afghanistan in just a few hours, all making Loki supersonic to hypersonic range of speed. Now with Loki being up first, I generally think the Thor got this. Yes, while Loki is far stronger than them all, they're at a worst a bit faster than him to dozens of times faster than him, with Johnny being easily millions of times faster with him, along with their teamwork and synchronicity, and their own unique ways to whittle him down, such as Johnny using his heat or Sue's force fields, which fun fact she can spawn inside people. I think they can pull a W against Loki, and the Chitauri army should not even be a problem in the first place. With Ultron, or what I would dub Ultron Prime, being the strongest threat the Avengers have ever faced at this time, as off-rip he can not only bully Thor, but go toe-to-toe if not stronger than Vision, which mind you, Vision is noted to potentially being the strongest Avenger at this time, this meaning he would just blatantly upskill from any feat Thor or any Avengers done at this point, so just Thor not only scaling but defeating the Guardian of the Vault, the Destroyer, as the Destroyer feeds off the Odin Force, and the Odin Force or Odin at this time is being referenced as being a planet buster, as he is stated to have earth-shattering force. This being consistent as to say that Odin has casually devastated worlds, which devastate by definition means to destroy or ruin something, and due to the context of the statement being a reference to what has Odin physically destroyed, and he already has planetary backing as his earth-shattering statements, this would most likely be in reference to physically destroying planets. This planetary tier for Thor being consistent as Mjolnir is stated to be a weapon with no equal. Mind you, everything inside Odin's vault is stated to be considered a weapon. This would include the likes of the Casket of Winters, with it at a minimum can plunge planets into an ice age or a multi-continental feat. However, it's more consistently planetary, as in What If Season 1 Episode 3, it stated it can reduce Earth to ash. As well in the Thor movie, it stated it can verbatimly lay waste to the 9 realms. Lay waste by definition means to completely destroy, potentially making just the Casket of Winters a multi-planetary threat. However, with the Tesseract also be considered a weapon due to it being inside the vault, with it just being stated it can destroy the planet inside the Avengers, as well as being stated again or reconfirmed in the Avengers the movie storybook, all making Thor scale to this planetary tier consistently, and Ultron Prime massively upscales from this, making him at the very least planetary plus range of power. Now, Ultron is surprisingly really fast. As already established, he scales to Thor, which in his very first movie, he's able to fly from where he destroyed the massive part of Jotunheim to the end of its path. With the area he destroyed, as we've already established, to be confirmed to be an area of 27,700 miles, and he was able to cover said distance in 10 seconds. Or he clocks out at over Mach 12,000, or massively hypersonic range. However, it doesn't just stop there, as Ultron Prime being equal or greater than Vision, who's potentially the strongest Avenger, which in return will put him above the likes of Spider-Man. Said Spider-Man is shown to be able to react and dodge to and the attacks of the Electro from the TASM universe, which is impressive as the VFX creators confirmed that he's actually attacking and travels via electromagnetic particles. Said the energies are just light speed in nature, however we can go higher, as due to artist bodies shown to move and fight in tandem to the TASM Spider-Man, who's able to perceive the already light speed attacks of Electro in literal nanoseconds. Said feat is actually 128 times the speed of light. Now, if you think Spider-Man at this time doesn't scale to this fully due to him not having his mental amp, so saying it would only be 50 times the speed of light is more than reasonable. If that's saying he's more than 2 times weaker than his current self, then only assuming that Vision doesn't upscale this in any way is just equal to it, then Ultron would unironically be 50 times the speed of light, while lowballing due to sake of consistency. So if I haven't made it abundantly clear that the Thor have no way of beating Ultron, he's not only way faster and stronger, but due to being made of vibranium, massively more durable as well. Which, if you don't know how strong MCU vibranium is, let me know and I'll make a video on this topic. But overall, the Thor have no way of dealing with one Ultron, let alone as him and his entire army. While the Thor can stop the initial attack on New York, they would fail to stop the Age of Ultron. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I plan on making more MCU videos in the future, so if you like that stuff and have any recommendations, let me know in the comment section below. And that's all, y'all. Mr. Crafty, out.